My roommate reached for me under the blanket, her fingers brushing my thigh like a spark in the dark, and in that instant, the fragile wall between us crumbled into something irrevocable. "Scarlett, wait," I whispered, but my voice cracked, betraying the hunger I'd buried for months. The air in our cramped Granada apartment thickened with the scent of jasmine from the open window, and as her hand lingered, I knew we'd just ignited a fire that could consume us both, or light the way home. The Sierra Nevada mountains loomed outside like silent judges, their snow-capped peaks mocking the heat pooling in my chest. Savannah Hayes, that's me, had come to Spain chasing ghosts of a family legacy, a semester abroad to escape the suffocating grip of my mother's expectations back in Portland. At 25, I was supposed to be finding myself, the art history major sketching Alhambra arches by day, nursing cheap sangria by night. Instead, I'd found Scarlett Ruiz, the enigmatic transfer student from San Francisco with a laugh that echoed like flamenco guitars and eyes that saw straight through my sketches to the unfinished lines of my soul. We'd met on the first day of orientation, her crashing into me at the chaotic Granada airport with a duffel bag slung over her shoulder and a grin that said she owned the chaos. "Oops, Savannah, right? I'm Scarlett. Like the dress, not the movie star." Her voice had that California lilt, warm and unhurried, cutting through the jet-lagged haze. By week's end, we'd signed the lease on this shoebox apartment in the Albaycin neighborhood. Whitewashed walls, a balcony overlooking terraced hills, and a single bed we'd sworn to share platonically, like sisters in exile. Lies we told ourselves, apparently. That night, the storm had rolled in from the Mediterranean, thunder rattling the shutters like an impatient lover. We'd hunkered down with a bottle of Rioja, trading stories under the threadbare quilt my abuela had sent from Oregon, ironic, since I'd fled anything remotely familial. Scarlett, daughter of a Mexican-American chef and a literature prof, spoke of her parents' divorce with the casual shrug of someone who'd rebuilt herself from the rubble. "Love's just a recipe gone wrong sometimes," she'd said, swirling her wine. "Too much salt, not enough heart." I'd nodded, hiding how her words stirred the ache in my own chest, the one from watching my mom date a string of men who treated her like a side dish. As the rain lashed the windows, we shifted closer on the bed, our legs tangling innocently at first. Then her hand, God, that hand, slipped under the blanket, tentative, electric. Time fractured. My breath hitched and I turned to her, our faces inches apart in the lamplight. Her lips parted, soft and searching, and before I could think, I closed the gap. The kiss was salt and wine and desperation, her mouth yielding like sun-warmed clay under my thumbs. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed together, the world narrowing to the thunder of our pulses. "Save, I didn't mean," she started, but I silenced her with another kiss, fiercer this time, my fingers threading through her dark hair. It wasn't just desire. It was revelation. A key turning in a lock I'd long forgotten existed. We tumbled into each other that night, bodies mapping uncharted territories with whispers and sighs, the storm outside paling against the one within. By dawn, tangled in sheets that smelled of her citrus shampoo, I traced the curve of her shoulder and whispered, "This changes everything." She smiled, sleepy and sure. Good. It was supposed to. But Spain, with its labyrinthine streets and hidden fountains, has a way of unraveling even the tightest knots. The weeks that followed were a fever dream of stolen moments, sketching her profile in the Alhambra's rose gardens, her feeding me bites of churros dusted with sugar in Triana cafes, our hands brushing under cafe tables as we debated Goya's shadows or Lorca's forbidden loves. Scarlett made me feel seen, not as the dutiful daughter or the aspiring artist, but as Savannah, flawed, fierce, alive. She'd drag me to underground flamenco bars in Sacramento, where gypsy dancers stomped their heels like heartbeats, and we'd sway in the dim light, her body pressed to mine, whispering promises into the smoke. Yet beneath the romance, fissures formed. My calls home grew strained. Mom's voice crackled over the line, probing about boys' futures, anything but the truth I was too scared to voice. "You're wasting time in that dusty old country, Savvy. Come back where you belong." Scarlett noticed, curling around me on the balcony one evening as the sun dipped behind the Sierra, painting the sky in bruised purples. "She's wrong, you know. This is where you bloom." Her words wrapped around me like her arms, but doubt lingered, a shadow in the corner of our idyll. Then came Elena, Scarlett's old friend from Berkeley days, arriving unannounced with a backpack and a bottle of absinthe. Surprise me more, she crowed, enveloping Scarlett in a hug that lingered too long, her laughter a peal of bells in our quiet space. Elena was all sharp edges and sharper wit, 27 with cropped platinum hair, tattoos snaking up her arms like vines, and a journalist's nose for secrets. She'd come to cover the Andalusian wine harvest for some indie mag, crashing on our couch with the entitlement of someone who'd always gotten her way. At first it was harmless, the three of us wandering the General Life gardens, Elena regaling us with tales of protests in Madrid, her hand occasionally grazing Scarlett's knee as she laughed. But I saw the shift, the way Scarlett's eyes lit when Elena spoke, the inside jokes that left me adrift. One night, after too many glasses of vermouth, Elena cornered me in the kitchen while Scarlett showered. You know she's always been mine, right? This little detour with you. It's cute but temporary. Her smile was a blade, slicing through the fragile peace I'd built. I laughed it off, but sleep evaded me that night, the bed feeling vast and cold. The betrayal didn't come with fanfare. It slithered in like fog off the Guadalquivir. I found them one afternoon in the courtyard below our window, Scarlett and Elena, heads bent close over a shared cigarette, Elena's fingers tracing Scarlett's jaw as she murmured something that made my love dissolve into giggles. My stomach twisted, bile rising as I backed away, the sketchpad in my hands crumpling like my resolve. That evening I confronted her, voice steady despite the storm inside. What's going on, Scar? With her? She looked up from her phone, Elena's text notifications glowing like accusations. It's nothing, save old habits. She's leaving in a week. But her eyes darted guilty, and when I pressed she snapped, God, you're so intense. Can't we just be? The words landed like slaps, echoing the insecurities I'd confessed in the dark. I stormed out, wandering the moonlit Albayacin alleys until my feet bled in my espadrilles, the minarets of the mosque calling to prayer like a dirge for what we'd lost. Days blurred into a tense standoff. Scarlett threw herself into guiding tours for extra cash, vanishing into the Alhambra's maze with groups of wide-eyed Americans, while I holed up in the apartment, charcoal staining my fingers as I drew her, over and over, a ghost in my pages. Elena, sensing blood, lingered, her presence a poison seeping into our home. One night I overheard them on the balcony. Elena's voice low and coaxing. Remember Barcelona? That rooftop, just us. Scarlett's reply was a murmur, but it shattered me. I do. But save. She's different. Different. The word hung a verdict. The climax erupted on the eve of Elena's departure. During the Corpus Christi festival, Granada pulsed with lanterns and processions, the air thick with incense and the wail of saetas from cathedral balconies. We'd agreed to a truce for the night, dancing in the streets, pretending. But as fireworks cracked overhead, painting the sky in explosive blooms, Elena pulled Scarlett into a shadowed alcove, their silhouettes merging in the strobe. I watched from across the plaza, heart hammering until I couldn't anymore. I shoved through the crowd, grabbing Scarlett's arm. Enough. Choose. Her face crumpled, torn between the fireworks' glow and my fury. Savannah, please, not here. Elena smirked, stepping forward. Let her go, kid. She's not yours to cage. The words ignited something primal. I swung, not hard, but enough to graze Elena's shoulder, sending her stumbling. Chaos followed, shouts, Scarlett pulling me away, the crowd parting like the Red Sea. We fled to the riverbank, the Darro rushing below like spilled ink, and there, under a canopy of willows, she broke. It's you, Scarlett sobbed, collapsing against me. Always you. Elena's just fear. The easy out. Her confession poured out, the doubts from her fractured family, the pressure of being the strong one. How Elena represented the reckless youth she'd outgrown but couldn't release. I held her, rain from and sudden squall mingling with our tears, and forgave. Not because it was simple, but because love, real love, is the art of mending fractures. But forgiveness isn't erasure. The weeks after Elena's cab rattled away carried their own tempests. Scarlett dove into therapy sessions at the university clinic, unpacking the baggage we'd both dragged across the Atlantic. I confronted Mom in a tearful video call, coming out not with thunder but quiet resolve. I'm happy here, Mom. With her. That's my legacy. Her silence stretched, then softened. Then bring her home someday, savvy. We'll make tamales. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. A bridge from Portland's evergreens to Granada's olives. We rebuilt slowly, intentionally. Mornings became rituals. Scarlet brewing café con leche while I sketched the dawn over the Sierra, our hands finding each other across the table. Evenings we'd hike the trails above the city, her head on my shoulder as we watched eagles wheel against the sunset. The betrayal had scarred us, yes, trust a fragile mosaic now. But it deepened the hues of our bond, turning infatuation to something enduring, human. As spring thawed the mountains, Scarlet surprised me with tickets to Lorca's birthplace in Fuente Vaqueros. We wandered the poet's gardens, reciting verses about duende, the raw, soul-shaking spirit of art and love. "This is us," she said, plucking a fig from a tree and pressing it to my lips, juice sweet and sticky, messy, profound, alive. I kissed her there, amid the bees and blossoms, feeling the weight of our story settle like good earth. Summer approached, our visas expiring like a closing curtain. Back in the apartment, packing boxes amid the detritus of our seasoned charcoal stubs, wine-stained notebooks, we faced the crossroads. Stay in Spain, chase dreams in a foreign tongue? Or return to America, where family and futures waited? "Wherever you go, I go," Scarlet vowed, her fingers lacing mine. We chose hybrid. A year in San Francisco for her grad school, summers in Granada, roots twining across oceans. On our last night, we lay under that same quilt, the blanket of our beginning, her hand resting innocently on my hip. No sparks this time, just steady warmth. "We almost lost this," I murmured. She nodded, eyes tracing my face. "But we didn't. That's the miracle." Outside, the Sierra whispered approval, ancient and unyielding. As we drifted into sleep, two women forged in fire, ready for whatever dawn brought. In the end, our story wasn't a flawless tapestry but a quilt of patches. Betrayals mended. Conflicts resolved not by grand gestures but quiet choices. Human, messy, profoundly ours. And as the plane lifted us over the Atlantic, Scarlet's hand in mine, I knew. Love isn't the absence of storms, but the courage to dance in the rain. The San Francisco fog rolled in like an old friend that October, cloaking the Golden Gate in its signature gray shroud. But for me, it felt like a homecoming laced with uncertainty. Savannah and I had traded Granada's terracotta heat for the chill of her childhood city. Portland was too close to my own ghosts, so we'd compromised on the Bay Area, where Scarlet could chase her master's in cultural anthropology while I audited art classes at USF. Our new digs. A converted Victorian in the Mission District, with peeling wallpaper and a bay window overlooking murals of Aztec warriors and rainbow flags. It was America unfiltered. Tacos from taquerias, drag brunches on Sundays, the hum of cable cars echoing our tentative new rhythm. But reintegration was a beast. The betrayal with Elena lingered like a bruise, flaring at odd moments. A text from an unknown number, a whiff of absinthe at a bar. I'd catch Savannah's eyes narrowing during my late-night study sessions, her sketches of me now edged with hesitation, lines sharper than before. "You okay?" she'd ask, voice soft, but I heard the undercurrent. "Are we okay?" I'd pull her close, burying doubts in the crook of her neck, but trust, once cracked, rebuilds slowly layer by layer. My program plunged me into fieldwork, interviewing queer Latinx elders in the Castro, their stories of Stonewall-era raids and Tenderloin hideouts weaving into my thesis on diasporic identities. It grounded me, reminded me why I'd fled the straight-laced suburbs of my youth. Yet academia's grind unearthed old insecurities, professors dismissing my personal anecdotes as bias, classmates side-eyeing my exotic accent. One evening, after a brutal seminar where my presentation on Lorca's queer subtext was picked apart, I came home slamming doors, collapsing onto the couch with a bottle of Anchor Steam. Savannah found me there, her auburn hair tied back, paint smudges on her jeans from a life drawing class. She didn't pry. Instead, she knelt, unlacing my boots with the gentleness of someone who'd learned my silences. "Talk to me, Scar." Her green eyes held no judgment, just that steady Portland patience. I spilled it all, the imposter syndrome, the fear that my hyphenated identity made me forever other. She listened and cupped my face. "You're not other. You're you. And that's my favorite story." We made love that night on the rug, slow and reverent, rediscovering each other amid the foghorn's distant moan. It was healing, a balm on wounds we both carried. But America had its own dramas waiting. My family scattered like diaspora seeds. Dad in Oakland running his taqueria. Mom in Berkeley adjuncting lit classes, demanded integration. Thanksgiving loomed, a minefield of turkey and tensions. Mom had remarried a decade ago to a quiet engineer named Raj, and their blended brood included my half-brother Mateo, a gangly 16-year-old with my curls and his dad's dimples. Inviting Savannah meant unveiling us. No more deflections. The drive to Berkeley was tense, eucalyptus trees whipping past as indie folk crackled from the radio. What if they hate me? Savannah fretted, twisting her silver ring. The one-eyed slipped on her finger in a Granada jeweler's, vowing forever without the label. I squeezed her thigh. They'll love you. How could they not? But my pulse raced. Mom had always hinted at finding a nice boy. Her Catholicism a gentle but insistent tide. Dinner unfolded in their sunlit craftsman. Tamales steaming alongside stuffing. Raj carving the bird with surgical precision. Mateo grilled Savannah on Portland rain. Does it really never stop? Drawing her out with his easy charm. Mom, though, her smile tightened when I linked arms with save post grace. So Savannah, she said over pie, fork poised like a weapon. Scarlett says you're an artist. That's unstable, no? The table hushed. Savannah's laugh was brittle. Art's my anchor, Mrs. Ruiz. Keeps me from drifting. Mom's eyes flicked to me, probing. And you two roommates abroad now this. It's fast. The air crackled. I jumped in, voice steady. Not fast, Mom. Real. Silence stretched. Then Raj cleared his throat. Love's like mole. Takes time to simmer but worth the burn. Mateo hooped. Yeah, Aunt Scar's got game. Mom's facade cracked, a tear tracing her cheek. Just be happy, Mija. That's all I want. Hugs followed, tentative then tight, the fog lifting not just outside but within. Driving back, Savannah exhaled. Your family's chaos is kinda perfect. I grinned. Welcome to the circus. Winter brought its own tempests. Savannah's mom, ever the orchestrator, flew down for a surprise visit, code for inspection. Evelyn Hayes was Portland distilled. Crisp bob pearl earrings, a realtor's smile hiding steel. She arrived with artisanal cheeses and passive queries. Granada sounds romantic, but when are you settling down, dear? Over dim sum in Chinatown, she cornered me while Save stepped out. She's fragile, you know. After her dad left, she built walls. Don't break her. Her words stung, echoing my own fears, but I met her gaze. I'd die before hurting her. We're in this, walls and all. The real fracture came in February, when Elena resurfaced. Not in person but through a glossy email. An invite to her book launch in New York, Queer Exiles, Dispatches from Europe, with a chapter dedicated to a certain Andalusian summer. Attached. A PDF excerpt, Scarlett's laughter woven into Elena's prose like threads in a tapestry she hadn't woven. She was my duende, Elena wrote. Fleeting, fierce, unforgettable. My stomach nodded. Savannah found me staring at the screen, face ashen. Is this? She trailed, reading over my shoulder. The words blurred. Our courtyard kisses recast as Elena's conquest. My betrayal minimized to youthful indiscretion. Rage boiled not just at the theft but the erasure. She's profiting off us. Save seethed, pacing the creaky floors. I nodded, tears hot. I have to respond. End this. My email was measured fury. Your dispatch romanticizes pain you caused. Leave our story out of your spotlight. Elena's reply was swift, venomous. Art's not yours to own, Scarlett. Neither was she. The fallout was a whirlwind. Savannah retreated into her studio. A corner of our living room piled with canvases, painting abstracts of fractured light, her silence louder than screams. I threw myself into research, interviewing survivors of the AIDS crisis, their resilience a mirror to our own. One elder, a drag queen named Ruby, pulled me aside after a Castro archive tour. Betrayal's the thief in the night, honey. But love? That's the dawn that chases it away. Forgive yourself first. Her words lingered, a lantern in the fog. We clashed that March equinox. Rain lashing the windows like Granada's storms reborn. How could you let her in again? Savannah hurled, charcoal snapping in her fist. Even words, even after everything? I crumbled, sobbing on the floor. I didn't. I swear. It's her poison, not mine. She knelt, gathering me like broken porcelain. Then prove it. Block her. Burn the bridge. I did, deleting the thread, smashing my phone against the wall in cathartic fury. In the wreckage we rebuilt. Therapy for us both, a couples counselor in No Valley who taught us the language of wounds. By cherry blossom season, fissures sealed into strength. Savannah's first gallery show. A series titled Duende Fractured, hung in a Soma loft, her canvases alive with Sierra shadows and mission murals, Scarlet's silhouette woven subtly through. I stood beside her at the opening, champagne flute in hand, as collectors murmured approval. Mom Hayes arrived, Evelyn beaming beside her, whispering, "Proud of you, kiddo." My family filtered in too. Dad with platters of carnitas, Mateo snapping selfies. The room buzzed, a tapestry of our worlds colliding. That night, in our bed slick with rain from the fire escape, Savannah traced my tattoos, new ink of olive branches from a tenderloin parlor. "We're unbreakable now," she murmured. I kissed her collarbone. Forged in the fire. America, with its vast skies and varied hearts, had tested us, but we'd emerged not unscathed but whole. Spring unfurled in the bay like a promise kept, dogwoods blooming pink against the pastel row houses, but for us it was a season of reckonings. Savannah's show had been a triumph, sold-out pieces funding a shared studio dream, but success amplified shadows. Whispers followed. "That redhead's work. Sora. What's her muse?" I'd smile at openings, arm looped through hers, but inside Elena's ghost prowled. Her book climbing indie charts, reviews lauding its unflinching intimacy. One critic even name-dropped Granada, speculating on the unnamed lover's heartbreak. Savannah saw me flinch at the article, shared over oat milk lattes in our sunlit kitchen. "It's not us," I insisted, folding the printout into origami cranes, her childhood trick for banishing bad juju. But doubt festered, a low hum under our harmony. My thesis advisor pushed for a chapter on exilic romances, her eyebrows arching suggestively. "Draw from life, Scarlet. That's where the duende lives." I balked, channeling Lorca's warnings about art devouring the artist. Instead, I pivoted to oral histories, voices of queer women who'd navigated betrayals in the diaspora. Filipina nurses in 1980s San Francisco, Chicana activists ousted from their own movements. Their stories armored me, reminding that pain transmuted becomes power. Yet personal tides pulled harder. Savannah's restlessness grew. Portland called like a siren's song, her mom hinting at a family cabin for creative recharge. "Just a month," she'd say, sketching eagles over evergreens. I nodded, but fear coiled. Distance as the thief that stole Elena back into our bed. One foggy morning as she packed watercolors, I cracked. "Don't go. Not now." My voice trembled raw. She paused, brush in hand. "Scar, it's not forever. It's space to breathe." Space. The word echoed betrayals past, and I lashed out. "Space for what?" "To realize I'm not enough." The argument exploded like fireworks over the bay. Accusations flying, old wounds ripped open. "You think I don't see you checking your phone?" She shot back. "Waiting for her next dispatch?" I recoiled, stung. "That's not fair. I've burned every bridge." Tears streamed as we circled, voices rising until neighbors banged on the walls. Finally, exhausted, we collapsed on the couch, her head in my lap. "I'm scared," I admitted, "of losing you to the wild." She stroked my hair. "Then come with me. Or trust me to return." I chose trust, fragile as fog, waving her off at SFO with a kiss that tasted of salt and summer plans. Portland welcomed her like a prodigal. Rain-slick streets, craft breweries humming with flannel-clad locals, the Willamette murmuring under Hawthorne Bridge. Evelyn doted, fresh salmon bakes, gallery crawls in the Pearl, but Savannah's letters, yes, we wrote, old school, sealing envelopes with wax, brimmed with ache. "The pines whisper your name, mi amor. Hurry back." I threw myself into fieldwork, trekking to the Central Valley for interviews with farm worker queer collectives, their tales of hidden loves amid almond orchards grounding my soul. But nights were hollow, our bed vast without her warmth. Elena's shadow struck again mid-June, a package arriving at our mission flat. Her book, inscribed to Scarlet, Duende Endures. "Let's talk?" I hurled it into the recycling, but fury simmered. "Why now?" Digging online reckless, I know, I found her tour schedule. A reading at City Lights, Ferlinghetti's haunt. Impulse 1. I went, slipping into the back row amid beatnik ghosts. She spotted me mid-recite, her voice faltering on a line about stolen summers. Post-event, she cornered me by the register. You came. Not for you, I said, arms crossed. For closure. Her laugh was bitter, eyes shadowed. Closure? That trip wrecked me, Scar. You chose her, left me chasing echoes. Empathy flickered, Elena's armor cracking, revealing a woman adrift, her exiles a mask for loneliness. We all chase ghosts, I replied softly. But mine's flesh and blood now. Let it go, Elena. For both of us. She nodded, tears glistening. Be happy. You deserve it. Walking out into North Beach's neon, I felt unburdened, the fog lifting like grace. Savannah returned tanned and inspired, her suitcase bursting with sketches of misty forests and Columbia Gorge waterfalls. We reunited at the airport, her leaping into my arms amid harried travelers, our kiss a headline in the terminal bustle. Missed you, she breathed. Over IPA at a hate dive, she unveiled her gift. A pendant of Sierra granite, etched with Duende Nuestro. For the wild in us both. That night we danced in the kitchen to Nina Simone. Bodies swaying to Feeling Good. Reclaiming rhythm. But summer's heat brewed deeper conflicts. My thesis defense loomed, a gauntlet of academic scrutiny, while Savannah's career beckoned. A fellowship offer from a New York gallery, tempting with Big Apple buzz. It's a launchpad, she argued over sunset picnics in Dolores Park. We could make it work, weekends FaceTime. I countered with visions of our Granada balcony. The life we'd sketched in whispers. Or stay. Build here, roots deep. The debate stretched, mirroring larger rifts. Her nomadic artist's soul versus my anchored researcher's heart. Climax crested in August during Pride. A riot of rainbows and bass-thumping floats down Market Street. We marched hands clasped, signs reading love without borders. But midway Elena appeared, parading with her press cohort, banner touting her book. Our eyes locked across the throng, she waved, tentative. Savannah stiffened, grip tightening. Ignore her. But the universe conspired. A float stalled, shoving us together in the crush. Savannah, Elena said, voice small. I'm sorry. Truly. Savannah's jaw clenched, green eyes flashing. Sorry doesn't rewrite history. The crowd surged, but Elena pressed on. It does if you let it. I was lost, jealous, selfish. But seeing you too. It's beautiful. Vulnerability disarmed. Savannah exhaled, the fighter yielding to the artist. Just stay gone. Elena nodded, vanishing into the glitter. Later, atop Twin Peaks, city lights sprawling below like a queer constellation, Savannah turned to me. I almost hated her forever. But hate's heavy. I kissed her temple. And love's light enough for both. Fall whispered changes. I defended my thesis to applause, capstone chapter reframed as betrayals as bridges. Our story anonymized, alchemized into scholarship. Savannah deferred the fellowship, opting for a local residency in Oakland, her work evolving. Portraits of queer elders, inspired by my interviews, faces luminous with survived sorrows. We hosted a joint exhibit in the fall, Echoes of Exile, walls alive with her oils and my transcribed voices, drawing crowds from the Castro to the Mission. Yet humanism demands humility. Mom Ruiz's cancer diagnosis hit like a rogue wave. Stage 2, treatable but terrifying. We flew north, me holding her hand through chemo drips in Kaiser. Savannah charming nurses with sketches of hopeful horizons. Evelyn joined, the two mothers bonding over bad hospital coffee, Evelyn admitting, I was wrong about you, Scarlett. You're her rock. In remission's glow, Mom pulled me aside. Family's not blood, it's chosen. You've chosen well. Tears flowed, a river of release. As leaves turned in Golden Gate Park, we walked hand in hand, acorns crunching underfoot. We've weathered it all, Savannah mused. I nodded. And emerged kinder. America, vast and varied, had schooled us in grace, betrayals as teachers, conflicts as clay for stronger forms. Winter's grip on the bay softened into tentative spring. But for us, it was a season of solidifying. Roots delving deeper into the urban soil we'd tilled. Savannah's residency bloomed into mentorships at local high schools, her workshops empowering queer youth to wield brushes like swords against invisibility. I'd watch from the back, heart swelling as a shy trans teen layered colors over self-doubt, mirroring our own layered healing. My postgrad life unfolded in adjunct gigs and grant writing, but the real work was ours. Weekly check-ins with our therapist, a wise black lesbian named Jordan who likened relationships to redwoods, intertwined, enduring storms through shared canopies. Elena's echo faded entirely that March, her latest dispatch a mea culpa op-ed in The Advocate. On stealing stories, a reckoning. She owned the theft, credited anonymized sources as unspoken, vowing ethical pivots. Savannah read it aloud over breakfast burritos, her laugh genuine. Redemption arc. Who knew? I raised my mug. To ghosts laid to rest. Closure long sought, arrived not with fanfare but quiet validation. A chapter closed, pages turning forward. Family weaves tightened too. We alternated holidays, 4th of July barbecues in Dad's Oakland backyard, fireworks bursting like defiant stars, Mateo roping us into cornhole tournaments where Savannah's competitive streak shone. Christmas in Portland brought Evelyn's famous cider wassail and carols by the tree, Mom Ruiz arriving post-remission with tamales flown in, Raj regaling us with dad jokes. Blended we were. A mosaic of accents, recipes, and hard-won affections. One eve, as snow dusted the haze evergreens, Evelyn pulled Savannah aside. I see it now, the light you two kindle. Don't let go. Save hugged her tight. Never. Yet no arc lacks tension. Summer tested our equilibrium anew. A Granada alumni retreat beckoned. A week in the Sierra, reclaiming roots, and old friends RSVP'd, Elena notably absent. Excitement mingled with nerves. Returning as a couple meant vulnerability, our story on display. The flight over the Atlantic hummed with what-ifs, Savannah sketching flight paths in her journal. What if it's awkward? I teased her knuckles. Then we flamenco our way through. Andalusia embraced us like lovers reunited. Olive groves silver under moon, the air perfumed with orange blossom. Our group, a dozen expats now professionals, gathered in a cortijo near Ronda, white walls echoing with laughter. Hikes through cork forests yielded confessions around campfires. Divorces weathered, careers pivoted, loves rekindled. One night under a meteor shower, a former housemate named Theo, non-binary with a poet's lilt, turned to us. You two glow. How? Savannah glanced at me, eyes soft. By choosing every day. Even the hard ones. But conflict stirred subtly. A late-night call from my advisor, dangling a Fulbright for Spain-based research. Your Duende thesis, perfect fit. Temptation flared. Granada's call was visceral. The apartment waiting like a first love. Savannah overheard. Her face clouding over paella the next day. Go if you need to, she said, voice even. But not without me. The words hung. A gentle ultimatum born of past pains. We hiked alone to the Puente Nuevo that afternoon. Gorge winds whipping our hair, and laid bare the fears. My wanderlust a echo of Elena's chaos, her stability a tether to Portland's pull. At the bridge's span, overlooking the Guadalevans chasm, climax crested. Not in shouts but tears. I can't lose you to distance again, she confessed, gripping the rail. It hollowed me. I pulled her close, wind tousling us. Then we go together. Or redefine home. Resolution bloomed. A sabbatical compromise, 6-month split, virtual threads binding us. Kissing her there, vertigo below and stars above, felt like vows renewed. The gorge a metaphor for depths we'd bridged. Back in the States, autumn gilded our plans. We sublet the mission flat, trading for a hybrid life. Base in San Francisco, jaunts to Portland and tentative Granada visits. Savannah's next series, Tethered Horizons, debuted to acclaim. Canvases of bridges literal and figurative, sold to museums from MoMA to the Reina Sofia. My book contract followed, Duende Diasporas, blending our saga with elders' voices, proceeds funding scholarships for queer artists abroad. Humanism's heartbeat in the small graces. Volunteering at a Castro Senior Center, Savannah illustrating memoirs while I recorded, faces lighting as stories spilled. One vet, a Wasp-era lesbian named Clara, clasped our hands post-session. You remind me of us back when it was illegal to love. Keep fighting, pretty. Her words lingered, a baton passed. As winter solstice neared, we escaped to Big Sur. Clifftop cabin, ocean roaring below. There, by driftwood fire, Scarlett proposed. Not with rings but words. Build every messy, beautiful chapter with me? Savannah's yes was a sob, our embrace sealing it. No grand wedding yet, just us, waves crashing approval. Years folded like accordions. A civil ceremony in City Hall. Rainbow cake and vows exchanged amid bureaucratic bustle. Kids. Not biological, but we fostered. First a teen runaway named Luca, all sharp wit and guarded heart. Then twins from the system, their laughter filling our Victorian. Families converged. Portland pines for holidays, Oakland barbecues in summer, Granada summers where Luca learned castanets and the girls chased Moorish ghosts. Betrayals? They paled to footnotes, lessons in resilience. Elena. We crossed paths at a lit fest, years on, hugs awkward but genuine. Her with a wife, us with our brood. You were right, she said. Duendes shared, not stolen. Savannah squeezed my hand. We've got plenty to go around. In quiet moments, Savannah sketching by the hearth, me typing amid cookie crumbs. I reflect. Our story born in a blanket spark, weathered Spain's sierras and America's fogs, emerging not flawless but faithful, humanistic to its core, flawed souls choosing grace, love as the ultimate rebellion. And as the Sierra calls again this summer, suitcases packed with crayons and canvases, I know. Home isn't a place, but the hand you hold through every storm.